So if you missed out on the D74 when they were out a few years back, you might be a happy camper because Kenwood has reintroduced the D74 package in a radio called the TH-D75. Let's talk about it this time on K6UDA Radio. Let's do this. New ham candy for you. Oh yeah. Hey, new holy shit. Can you believe it's been 6 years since I did that video and introduced the new Kenwood D74? And here we are 6 years later, 2 years into a D74 hiatus, and now Kenwood is announced the D75. Let's take a look at the D75, or what we think the D75 is going to be. All right, now to start us off on our little journey, we're going to have to take a little bit of a history lesson and talk about what the D74 is in comparison to almost every other handheld radio out there on the market. Now, there's no question. I've spent a lot of time comparing this radio that's now 6 years old to a lot of newer radios. I've done a lot of comparisons to its newest competitor, the ID52, which I would say is the closest competitor. I've done quite a bit of comparison to the old ID51, which I imagine the ID50 that's coming out is going to be pretty close to something like this. And I've even compared my D74 to the likes of my old Yaesu FT3, and I would say to a large degree the FT5. But after all of those comparisons, I always have said this is still my favorite of all handheld ham radios. And so why is that? All right, guys, just so you realize that I was a very early adopter of the D74, look at my serial number there. Right there, look at that serial number. Number 6. Numbers 1 through 5 of their production run, I understand, were given out to heads of the Kenwood Corporation kind of stuff. The next one in line came to me. And no, they didn't give it to me. I bought it for full boat retail, opening day retail price from HRO. Now, first off, the D74 was a tri-band radio. Most of the other ones that I've showed you are dual band radios. 2 meters, 440. The D74 was 2 meters, 440 plus 220 that you can talk on. That's kind of a big deal in and of itself. The next big thing that Kenwood had that almost no other radios in its class had was a nice, big, bright color screen. Almost nobody was doing the color screen. Some of the Chinese companies were doing them with DMR radios, and you guys know how I feel about most DMR radios. Kenwood also did full featured APRS in this radio, and I still don't understand everything there is to understand about APRS, but I use it and I love it and it's fun, and it's in the D74 and it's also in the D75. The D74 and the D75 have a wide band, a really wide band. That means I can plug in my 40 meter frequencies. I can listen. If I hook up an antenna to, say, outside, I can listen to 40 meters. I can listen to 20 meters 10 meters. And I can listen in lower sideband, upper sideband, CW, AM. This is something special, guys. This is something that no other handheld ham radio offers. This is a public service announcement. When you're buying a house, please, hopefully your contractor isn't a dumbass burying your main line from your barn to your house 6 inches underground under a horse stall. Yeah, that doesn't work so well, especially when you're using aluminum line and it's only 6 inches under the ground. Please use conduit 2 foot underground and you should be okay. Anyway, that kind of stopped production of this video and a few others. Had to stop, dig everything up, fix it, call an electrician out because holy crap, this was way, way beyond my skill. Anyway, public service announcement. I don't know what I could have done about it because I didn't know where those lines ran and I would have had no idea, and I would have never in a million years dreamed that somebody would put two 110-volt lines and a neutral running right across horse stalls. That's now fixed. I've got it buried in a 2-inch conduit, and it's now down 24 inches under the ground where it was maybe 6 to 8 inches under the ground before. It was all bad. Oh, man. And I noticed a few really weird things going on. Unplugged everything in the house. Saved almost all the equipment. Save for one power supply that didn't make it. Tried turning this thing back on. I'll crack the cover open on this thing and see what's going on with it. See if it's something simple that I can fix or if this thing is truly toast. So before we get back to the big show, I figure this is as good a time as any to ask you, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, to hit that subscribe button, the bell notification right next to it, let you know when I'm doing new videos. And if you see any value in these videos, please consider checking me out on Patreon, PayPal, any number of ways. You can send me your first responder patches, and I'm setting up that new wall in Studio B. All the pertinent information is right there. Right off to the up, down, and right to the side of me. Let's get back to the show. So, what do we think we can expect out of a new and improved D74 a la D75? Well, I'm kind of thinking we're going to have a new, more stylish case. So obviously the D75 is again going to be a tri-band radio. 2 meters, 220 and 440. Kind of a big deal. Guys, if you haven't played on 220, it's one of those bands that if we don't use it, we're going to lose it. This radio is a FM and D-Star radio. Once again, it's going to have all those D-Star features in there. It's an APRS radio, and with that APRS radio, it's going to have a built-in digipeater. This is brand new, and I don't think anybody else is doing a built-in digipeater in a handheld radio. So this is going to be very, very cool, which means you can take your Kenwood handheld, if you hook that up to a nice outdoor antenna, put it in the digipeater mode. Other people around you using the APRS system can then kind of piggyback, and you can be the gateway that repeats all of the APRS information around you. It says here that it is a D-Star with simultaneous reception on DV mode. Not exactly sure what that means, but what I'm hoping is that that you can transmit on D-Star and kind of listen to yourself on the B band. Another big change is the terminal mode. Normally, if you're not in range of a D-Star repeater, of an actual D-Star repeater, and it turns your radio into its own hotspot just by adding some internet connectivity. Kind of a big deal, seeing as that if you're not in range of a D-Star repeater and you don't have something like an open spot, this is going to close the gap. You won't need the open spot. You can connect this directly to your phone and use the terminal mode. ICOM has had terminal mode on the ID52, the ID5100. To be honest, I've never been able to get it to work. So I don't know if this is going to be a boon to me or if it's just going to frustrate me like terminal mode did on the ID52. USB-C charging. Now this could actually be an entire game changer. I don't know any other ham radio that is making use of the USB-C protocol, which charges much faster and does things way more efficiently in the throughput. From what I understand, it is the same exact screen size and the same screen as the D74. I imagine that Kenwood didn't go back to the drawing board and make an entirely new radio. They took what they had already done in the D74 and they added it to the D75. So this radio meets IP54 and IP55 standards, which is just kind of a weatherproofing, water resisting standards. One bitch that I have with the D74 is I had opened these flaps up and now they won't close. So my waterproofing on this radio is about nil right now, unless I can get a hold of some new rubbers and install that. So the D75 evidently is going to have some built-in IF filters for comfortable reception of single sideband and CW signals. Yes, the D75 is also going to be it'll have Bluetooth on it. That's kind of become the standard. The FT5 has Bluetooth. The ID52 has Bluetooth. I would love to see one of the manufacturers add in some kind of a small Wi-Fi chip like they've got on the 705. So it brings me to my biggest question here. D74 versus D75. Is the 3 or 4 upgrades on the D75 going to be worth it to you for an upgrade from D74 to D75? That's a tough one. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Now, you guys know me. I end up having to buy everything so I can do a review at least for you. But on the daily, do I use the D74? I once upon a time was carrying this thing every day and I did drop it. So it kind of hit the ground, got a little tiny scuff, is what it is. But again, it was a $600 machine and I kind of got a little gun shy after that. And I thought, you know what? I don't want to take that chance anymore. So it really doesn't come out of the house much. But I'll tell you what, when it comes to working satellites or working APRS, this is the man. This is the radio that I want to use when I'm working satellites or APRS D74. No question. All right, guys, that's it. A little bit longer of a video than I normally would put out for you. But hey, let me know in the comments what you think. If you're a D74 owner, if you're not a D74 owner, do you think it's worth an upgrade? Do you think it's worth buying the D75? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, guys, that's all I got. I'm Bob, K6UDA. I'm out of here. 7-3. Later.